Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Queen Chima. You can also call me the Queen of Conversations. For the past 1 week, social media has been crying hashtag justice for Ochanya. It's a Benue name or a Kogi name. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I would just call it Ochanya. And this is a story I'm seeing for the first time. Unfortunately, people said that this happened in 2018. And that's about how many years ago now? It broke again this year, 7 years after someone made the post again, just to remember Ochanya for what happened to her with her guardians. Now, her parents had sent her mother had sent her to her auntie to live with his husband, and then she actually granted an interview where she said that she was sexually violated by her uncle since she was 8, and then the son joined after. Sadly, it was her uncle's daughter that saw the violation happening and, called for attention. She passed. And the question has been, what do we do to pedophiles? Now, there are laws guiding things like this. Last week on the radio, I was having a conversation about domestic helps and the challenges that they go through. So we had an NGO come on the radio for sensitization. The woman was particular about people who help other women in the house, domestic helps, and how they should be treated. Now, she said in Rivers State alone, they've recorded cases of abuse, cases of ill treatment. Some of these people are stabbed. The latest case she had was a girl who reported to their foundation, that her madam had instructed that she would be eating once a day. And this woman on the radio said, this woman has a big house and the work in that house is a lot. This girl literally has to work from morning till night. So someone who does all of this for you, the best you can do is give the person food once a day. So she was creating this awareness and calling women to take care of domestic helps. Now, she said it's an industry that can never be eradicated in Nigeria. We have people who send their wards or their children to stay with other people due to poverty or concerns, maybe sometimes sympathy. You can have a sister and then you have an older sister and you say, oh, my child can come stay with you. I know that some people are reducing these days because of stories, but these things will keep happening. And apart Ochanya and her soul rest in peace, I don't think that girl's soul is resting, because justice has to be served 7 years after, and this matter is all over the place. It just shows that something isn't right. Now, the man who is said to be a lecturer in Benue State started molesting Ochanya, and then his son followed after. Now, he was arrested but was released because there were no evidences found. According to reports that we have seen, there were no evidences found to charge him. Now, the wife was convicted for 6 months and her crime was negligence. However, that is the question and that is the situation, because the woman on the radio said she told a story of a girl who was staying in a man's house and the man started molesting her and sexually abusing her. And she had sex severally with him and contracted HIV. They took her to another house, and this woman, her regular routine will be to run a test for anyone coming to stay with her as a help. And then she ran a test and they discovered that the lady was HIV positive. And they began to ask her, how did you contract? And that was when she opened up and said that her former boss was having sex with her. Now, they charged, but there were no evidences for conviction. There were no evidences for anything to happen. So this just goes to say how sometimes people like these pedophiles, sexual abusers, domestic violators, if you cannot hold anything against them, or if that person does not, it's just their word against this person, if that person doesn't have anything against them in terms of evidence, nothing may really happen. And that's it for the Ochanya's case. If that case is revisited, it has to take a lot, considering the Nigerian justice system. It has to take a lot for just a girl who is late now. Sadly, I watched those videos and I could not even breathe. I just saw myself, my chest was so tight. Sadly, if that case is revisited, What are the evidences to charge these people again? Now, she was diagnosed with VVF, a vagina fistula situation. Now, even if they go back to the hospital and they have those medical reports, who and how did that come about? We know that a lot, we talk about fistula cases in the north because of early marriages, several situations that can cause that health challenge. So if it is attributed to sexual abuse, and because she made a video, she said it's her word against those people, or their words against her. So if that guy shows up, he says he's been on the run for years, even if he shows up, what is the evidence? So what do we do as a nation? What do we do as a people collectively in your small space? What do you do? Looking out for people who are around you, who are staying with people as domestic helps, as siblings or sisters or whatever sort of help. If you notice anything that seems abnormal, then it's okay to speak up. We've had cases where I have a friend who works on the radio, and a certain girl calls her and says, oh, I have been molested by my stepfather, and my friend took up the matter, and that's how, she was saved. And also, everybody needs to look out for young girls, because if the evidence is not there, how do you prove it? This person will just come and say, I did not do it, and there has to be an evidence. Ochanya represents every girl out there who is going through a lot that we don't know, who says to you, I want to talk to you about something, and you don't get to listen, you don't pay attention, you don't call back. Ochanya represents every girl whose parents will send out because they cannot take care of them. Parents must learn to begin to take responsibility for their children. There are families in Africa, in Nigeria, or wherever in the world, whatever you have, you manage it. So if you're Nigerian, you say we are drinking Gary, we drank Gary for 3 days. Oh, that's because some parents say we rather take Gary or drink water or starve than some of our children going out. But this is not going to stay with someone else. This does not take away the fact that we have amazing people who take care of other people's children like it's like those children are theirs. They do their best. But we must look out for pedophiles. If I saw the comment section and some people were mad. There's someone who said, we were talking about a girl who was sexually molested when she was 7, and someone said, what did she wear? What someone wearing whatever, is it an excuse for you to sexually molest them? Is it an excuse? So we live in a society where some people think that the female gender is endangered, because if people begin to talk all the time about what someone is wearing and that's why they were abused, there are people you can patronize for sex. So if you as much as want sex, you can patronize them and get sex. So this is wickedness, whatever it's called. But I'm making this video to call our attention to how vigilant we can be around us. There's a case that broke, I think 2 years ago, a man that was constantly abusing his wife. They were always having issues and he was physically abusing her, beating her and all of that. And that day, the neighbor just said, no, this cannot continue happening. So he decided to extend his help. And now outside his home, because sometimes we can just be all about ourselves, and we're not observant of what's happening around us. There's that girl who leaves the house very early in the morning or who comes out very late. How about you engage her? What is it? What do you stay with? Why are you coming back this late? Why are you going out this late to buy something? Why don't you stay? Why do you wake up too early? Because someone might just be looking for that shoulder to cry to. Someone might just be looking for that person to talk to. And that man said, no, this cannot happen again. It was all over the internet. And he was a barrister, a lawyer, or what? The Nigerian Bar Association had come out and said they do not behave. They don't have professionals who behave like this in their association. But that's how that man was convicted. And everything came to limelight. There are women, there are girls who have passed as a result of abuse. We may not know all of them. Ochanya's case is an example too. It's one that stands out amongst many for us to speak up. And we must train our children to be confident, to be strong. I mean, you have children these days, train them to speak up, train them to say it when they feel it. Don't shut children up. I see parents who a child wants to express themselves, shut up, what do you have to say? What does the child not have to say? You're dampening that child's confidence, because a child should be able to express themselves. A child should be able to run away from somewhere or call the attention of someone and say, I am going through pain. We must raise our children that way, even in poverty, extreme poverty. We must raise our children to speak up when things are not right. When I see children who speak up, I admire it, because I didn't grow up that way. I grew up shielding myself, but I like children who speak up. It may sound disrespectful sometimes, but that's what we need in this generation, where you don't know what the next person is going to do to the other person. I am here saying justice for Ochanya. Whatever the Nigerian justice system can do, whatever investigations can go, even if it's the slightest of evidence that can be found, that girl deserves justice. But if it never happens, this is a case for every other girl out there who may be going through what Ochanya went through, and we're saying justice for girls. Let's protect girls. Let's protect humanity. Thank you so much for watching, and do have a fantastic time. Do well to subscribe to this channel, drop your comment and your thoughts, share this video, and let's see what you think about this case and how can we help protect our girl child. Thank you for watching once again, and bye.